Welcome to the Focus Fitpreneur Show with my featured guest, George Marialis.
Hi, I'm George Marialis, the founder of the Marialis Method. I've had over 4 decades of experience as a coach in all areas of life, not just exercise and nutrition. I have an academic background in psychology, philosophy, and anthropology, but I've also competed in strength sports and bodybuilding on the national and international stage. I ran Strongman in Australia for some 17 years, including the Arnold Classic Series. I've been a bodybuilding judge for many federations, including the IFBB, and was head judge for the ANB, the Australian Natural Bodybuilding Association, for some 10 years. I also own my own gym for nearly 20 years, Definition Fitness Centre, as well as being head coach of a number of other elite training facilities. I'm excited to be here on today's show, where I'm going to help you understand the philosophy of move, think, involve, and how putting the human first is what separates a commercial personal trainer from an elite performance coach.
Hello, this is coachGrazy, your high performance coach, and a warm welcome to all the high achievers and inspired fitpreneurs joining us today. I'm really excited that you're here with us today. I appreciate you and the incredible things you are already doing or are about to do. A shout out and thank you to all of our friends and listeners in Newcastle, Sydney, Australia today. Now make sure you stay tuned, and you definitely want to have a notepad handy for this one. Anyone, regardless of where they are right now, can get stuck and not know which steps to take next. And that's why my special gift to you is the On Top Performance Academy's Fast Track Formula. It contains the exact steps I and many other high-performance coaches have used to make 6 figures and beyond. And it is exactly what you need to build your successful health and fitness, side hustle, career or business. Simply go to www.ontopper.com.au. That's www.ontopperformanceacademy.com.au, or use the link in the show's description, and you can also access the featured guests, tips, guides, and coaching programs. I have another great friend of mine. He is an incredible human being, and today he's going to talk about the human first method, which is the Marialis method. He holds PhD in psychology, a master's in anthropology, a BA in physiology. He's a strength and conditioning and nutrition specialist. He has over 4 decades of experience at an elite level in the fitness industry. George's reputation spans continents, having coached professional athletes, judged elite competitions, and educated the next generation of coaches with unmatched depth and precision. His message is simple but profound. Surface level change creates surface level results. Now, help me welcome our featured guest. He has shaped the evolution of strength and conditioning in Australia. His approach blends science, physiology, and psychology, building athletes and coaches who think as deeply as they train. But here's a fun fact. He's not great at all things fitness, especially when it comes to the admin side of the business. He tells me that his wife Carla handles all of the admin, because if it was up to George, the entire business would run on scraps of paper, verbal agreements, and the good old-fashioned handshake. My guest today is none other than George Marialis. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today.
Looking forward to it. I don't know what questions you're going to ask me, but I just hope it's got nothing to do with business management, all right?
All right, mate. I promise. Thanks, buddy. Today, we're going to be digging down into your story, your career, your successes in the fitness industry. Now, you have told me previously that what you don't do is hand out templated programs or eating plans. You've told me that your role is essentially to do everything. You're the coach, the programmer, the nutrition specialist, the person who spots the obstacles that have been causing failure and dropouts for years. You're the person who actually addresses them. You put the human first, and from that, you founded the Move, Think, Evolve Marialis method. George, can you please tell us why it is so important for you to go out there and create such a big impact on people's lives at a human level, and why you created the Move, Think, Evolve Human First method?
Essentially, I've got to take you right back to the start of how I became a coach in this industry. When I started off, there was no accreditation qualification course to become a personal trainer. If you were training at a gym and you seemed to know what you were doing, the owner of the gym, who back in those days usually worked in the gym, would approach you and say, hey, you look like you know what you're doing. You're getting on with everybody. Would you like a couple of hours, a couple of shifts even at the gym, just on the floor, just talking to people, helping them just understand how to do exercises?
Accreditations haven't been around forever, have they? Back in those days, you needed to prove yourself. This guy knows what he's doing.
Completely.
Let's see if he can help others.
Exactly. And I just happened to be fortunate. The second gym I ever went to was full of elite athletes. There was bodybuilders, there was marathon runners, there was powerlifters, there was Olympic lifters, there was track and field athletes. It was the primary facility in Melbourne at the time, the old Finlay's Fitness Centre.
Because general population didn't go to the gym back in those days. There weren't 24-hour gyms on every corner. They were very rare.
That movement actually came when Arnold came out with his Pumping Iron movie and just saturated the planet with bodybuilding. And that's when the general public started flocking to gyms. But up until that time, it was mainly athletes or people who knew about fitness and wanted to participate in exercise and fitness.
Now, I know we're on the human first pathway here, but I want to segue a little bit because you mentioned Arnold. You were good mates with the founder of Strongman back in the day, weren't you? And so you were instrumental in bringing that together, and it was the Arnold Classic that was created. Was that correct?
Well, we were doing strongman comps well before the Arnold Classic came to Australia. And before it was the Arnold Classic, it was the Fitness Expo, which Tony Doherty was promoting, and he wanted to do a strongman comp there. And we did the World Strongman Qualifiers, Giants Live. We ran that there. My partner, Bill Linden, he had all the connections because he competed at World's Strongest Man. So together, we hit off strongman in Australia. Of course, Bill was the contact. He had all the people in the industry were familiar with him. And of course, I did all the hard work. I did all the running around. I did all the lifting. I did all the carrying. But it was a really good combination. Bill was a fantastic overall guy. I was the ground roots guy. So I interacted with all the athletes. I did all the counseling because strongmen, they're not just big and strong. They got big personalities too. So that was fun. So yeah, we ran strongman in Australia for about 17, 18 years.
I think that's really important for the listeners to understand, because we started by saying that the gyms back in those days, there was no accreditation. You went to the gym, you really had to gain your credibility through good training. People would see that, the owner would see that, and then through that gave you the opportunity to start coaching others. But you had to prove it to those hardcore people that were in the gym and the people that own the gym first. And then obviously that's evolved into the strongman. That's given you a whole depth of experience in putting together programs, etc. I do want to be a little bit careful on today's podcast, George, because honestly, I could talk to you for a year. You're an incredible human. But let's bring that back to human first. So somehow, somewhere in here, human first, move, think, evolve came about.
I'm going to tell you exactly how that happened. Being chosen to work in the gym, people were coming in saying, oh, look, I need a program. Is there someone there that can take me through a program and train me? I was then nominated the personal trainer without actually being a personal trainer. We didn't have a title. It was just, George, can you train this person? Yep, sure. And I get paid to be their personal trainer without that label being attached to it. Now, it wasn't just people coming in who wanted to lose a bit of weight. We had, for example, the crew from the original Mad Max series.
Okay.
Come into the gym. They needed to buff up a little bit for the movie. So, okay, I've got a whole lot of different people there and I'm trying to get them into shape and I've got limited time. Then on the other hand, every now and then you'd get the occasional celebrity pop into Melbourne for a show or something. Bruce Springsteen, Tina Turner and her band, MC Hammer, a huge list. They'd walk in and say, do you got someone who can take us through a workout? George, you're training Bruce Springsteen. George, you're training Ollie Minogue.
So cool.
If I qualified by doing today's course, I would have had no hope in hell of taking these people through a program.
So what you're saying is a basic templated, create a session plan, create a program, plug it in here and give it to most of your clients is just not going to work. And
then I had my biggest challenge ever. I had a jockey who had been retired for a few years, wanted to make a comeback. He was 4'0". He was overweight. He had to lose weight, get really strong, but he can't eat. I had to use every tool I had to try to be successful and achieve this guy's goal. And we did.
But what you're saying is that is at the extreme of being unique to that human.
Yep.
There's no template that fits that.
Yep. A race car driver comes in. I need to lose a bit of weight, but I really need to speed up my reflexes. So it was back to the books, reading. I spent so much time at the Melbourne University Library in their journal section, just trying to find anything I could in that field, relative to that field.
This is something that inspires me about you that needs to transition back into the industry. And that is that everything you do is science-backed. It's researched, it's peer-reviewed. And when there's gaps that need to be filled, what you're doing is you're matching what the human needs first, then you go and do your research and make sure that what we're prescribing is science-backed, it's got evidence, and it's going to achieve a result.
Yeah. And always keep in mind, the science is actually secondary, because what happens in the real world happens before the science.
Right. So this is what this podcast is about. This is a really good place for you to give us a definition. What does human first mean? What does it actually mean?
Human first essentially is understanding who it is that you're working with, not just the arms and the legs and the body and the losing weight or gaining muscle. It's what motivates him, what makes him function, what are his aspirations, what are his weaknesses, what are his fears. All of these things are going to determine how well you achieve your goals as a trainer. If you don't know the person, if you don't know that he's high achieving, corporate, married and kids, and he's got 30 minutes twice a week to train, and you give him a 5-day split, he's going to fail. You've really failed miserably.
So what you're saying is you've given him the science. That's great.
That's great.
But it's not going to work for the human.
Impossible. So you've got to understand who he is, his lifestyle, what he can do, what he can't do, what he wants to do. Sometimes your client will have needs and wants. His wants prioritize his needs. So somehow you've got to attend to those wants, but at the same time, feeding his needs.
The first thing that we really need to try and breed back into the industry is human first, human first, human first. It's that connection. It's that gathering information. And it can't just be done in the first pre-screen, because clients, particularly people you don't know, it takes time for them to trust and warm up to you. And that's when the truth starts coming out. That's when you start to discover their real self. And you've constantly got to be adapting. But most importantly, I see trainers do this all the time, whether I'm training them through their initial Cert 3 and Cert 4 in fitness or over and above, or whether I'm training more elite coaches. People these days listen to respond. So in a coaching environment, I see this as I'm doing a pre-screen, somebody's telling me about what's going on in their life, and I'm already thinking about what I'm going to prescribe as far as a session plan or a program is concerned. I'm listening to respond. What I should be doing is listening to hear. I should be listening to them, repeating back to them what I believe I've heard, and they will correct me where I'm wrong. So I actually get to hear what they're saying. That's got to be the start. And then from there, you move on to getting to know the human. And this is the beautiful thing of your method, is that you get as much benefit out of it as they do, because you actually become part of these humans' lives. You get to know them on a real human level. It's a beautiful thing.
There was a time where I would just train anybody and anyone. I didn't care if you wanted to get ready for an Olympic sport, or you just wanted to lose a couple of kilos, or you just wanted to start up at a gym. It didn't matter. I would train you. Once I realized the potential of my method in totally transforming lives, I started becoming a little bit more picky and choosy. My interest is complete life transformations. And these things don't happen by giving someone a 12-week program or a 6-week program, keeping it superficial. Thanks very much for the money. Hopefully you renew once this course is finished. No, I make them commit longer. I charge them a little bit more, but all I ask them to do is just do what I tell them for the first 3 or 4 weeks. And then I know I'll have them for months and months and months.
I would challenge anyone to come on the podcast here with me and find a more qualified coach than you. You've come through so many decades. You're still in the industry. You're doing incredible things. What I do want to try and get across to the listeners is that people go and they do their Cert 3 and they Cert 4 and they hit the industry and they think they're fully qualified. You're not. My son, for example, he's just started a plumbing apprenticeship. Now, he has to spend 4 years with a qualified plumber before he's allowed to go and fix your toilet. 4 years. Whereas you can do your fitness cert in months and bang, you're out there telling someone
Graham,
how to hold 150 kilos above their
Graham,
head. Look,
Graham, I'm going to pull you up. I know people who have done a course in 2 weeks online. 2 weeks online, I'm a fully qualified personal trainer.
I don't want to get into the politics of it because that's going to lead us down a rabbit hole. What I do want to get across is that for people to get where you are, they've got to do their apprenticeship. And the key is learning from people like you, learning from people that have actually been out there and done it, haven't Googled some course. You've done it, you've proven it, but you are picky about who you share with because that person needs to be committed. To narrow it down, how has putting the human first had such an incredible impact on your clients and it turned into something so positive in your life?
So I start off working in a gym with clients from different parts of life, different needs, different wants, different everything. That really challenged me. I found that what I needed to do to help them achieve their goals is to understand the person. So I would ask them a million questions. What type of training do they have to do? How many times do they want to come to the gym? What else happens in their life? How much stress do they have? And I realized way back then, asking these questions gave me a clear indication of what I needed to construct to help them move forward. And they would come back again and again and again. So a lot of these clients were coming back for the next 3-4 years to train with me for 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks at a time. That's when I realized what needs to be done. Understand the person, get to know him almost like a friend.
Most people would go straight to, once I worked that out, I was able to create a beautiful career, build a fantastic business, and make lots of money. You don't. You go straight to, I can create more friends. But I do want to ask the question, I'll make it very specific. Do you think you would have been as successful as a business person if you hadn't gone down the human first pathway?
Not even close. No way. I probably wouldn't have lasted as a personal trainer for longer than maybe 6 to 8 months. That's it.
That is such a salient point because I know you know the statistics. Do you want to tell the listeners what are the unfortunate statistics about people in this industry?
For a personal trainer, right here today, starting off today, 80% of them will fail within the first year.
Amazing.
Simply put, 80%. So out of 100, only 20 of them will continue to be personal trainers a year from today.
And then of those 20, tell the listeners the statistics about their clients.
Well, from them, something like 90% of their clients will go through life not remembering anything that they were taught.
That's just, it's terrible. Again, I don't want to get caught up into the politics, but I just want the listeners to understand that journey you took, discovering the human. This is what this podcast is about. The human first, that move, think, evolve method has sustained you in this industry. You've changed so many lives, and I guarantee you they all remember you.
I'm getting messages even today. George, I saw your profile. I wanted to say hi. I wanted to thank you again for all that you've done for me when we were training together. I still use a lot of the techniques you taught me today, and I thank you so much for my success today. And I show my wife, Carla, and she says, oh, who's that? And I say, I don't know. I don't remember this lady.
Someone from decades ago.
To me, that is the most rewarding thing in life, knowing that something you said many years ago, they're still using it, and they're thanking you for it today. So,
well, there's the proof right there. There's the proof right there. I know there are many purpose-driven people listening to the Focus Fitpreneur show, people with big hearts and a desire to make a big impact, people who have not yet started or have not yet built their coaching career, business, or the income that they really want and deserve. Whether you are just starting out or you already have financial success in this amazing health and fitness industry of ours, and you really want to launch, leverage, and explode your career or business, my guest and I are here to greet you where you're at, the place that you're at, and help you get to the next level as a high-performance fitpreneur. Okay, to bring this part of the show together, when you look back, was there a time or event in your life, George, that triggered you to transform into an elite high-performance coach whose reputation now spans many continents?
Right. For decades, I just did what I knew how to do. And that was train people, coach people, the life transformations. That was my big thing. When COVID came along, crippled us. We lost everything, businesses, everything. We moved up north to the Sunshine Coast from Melbourne, and we decided we're going to go online. Now, I thought online was going to be easy because, hey, we'll be up there getting clients, working with them online. We'll be working down at the beach, down at the local coffee shop. And I realized how hard it was when I had to answer all the questions on Facebook to set up your profile. And it was asking me specifically what I was. I couldn't define myself because out of necessity, I'd have to put myself into a niche. And I thought, well, I'm not this, I'm not that, I'm not just that. I don't know. So I went to AI and I said, look, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. Who am I? How do I fill this section in? And it said, you're an elite, high performance, strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, okay, that's what I do. And that's the turning point, believe it or not. It might sound silly, but
it's
up
not
until
silly.
then,
It's because you're a humble human. Everyone goes through trials and tribulations in their lives. And often the most profound beauty comes out of that when you discover things like you just have about yourself, who you really are, and that you are as much human as your clients are.
Of course.
George, your style is beautifully direct and compassionately honest. You don't just coach movement, you coach meaning. Honestly, mate. Under your mentorship, trainers and athletes learn to think critically and move intelligently and evolve into complete professionals. I know you're a humble man, but how does that reflect the core of who you are and your approach to your career and business?
Pretty much tells me that this is what I'm destined to do.
You were put on this planet for this meaning, weren't you?
Honest and authentic.
There's no fluff and fancy lights, and it's just, this is who I am.
It's real life. It's real life. The good, the bad, and all the stuff in between, and all the fun stuff, of course.
And has that resonated?
Well,
you're almost too busy now, aren't you?
I have had a plethora of requests of people saying, we're going to come up for 2 weeks on a Sunshine Coast. Can you train us every day that we're up there?
Yeah.
So I'm getting people coming up from Melbourne to spend time here as a holiday, and they want me to train them. So we just finished up with a young girl and her auntie, who's now her carer. They've been through some major trauma down in Melbourne. I used to train this particular lady back in Melbourne when I had my gym some 17, 18 years ago. She said she's at the end of her tether. She's approached other trainers, doctors, psychologists to help them through this traumatic situation. She said, I don't know who to turn to. Can you help? We had a long chat. And in the end, they said, we're going to come up for 2 weeks and can you spend time with the little one? Within 3-4 days, complete change of personality.
Yeah. Well, that's who you are, mate. You're amazing. Listeners, we are here with George Marialis, and we'll be back with the Focus Fitpreneur business questions and insights on building your fitness coaching career or business right after this. Attention, health and fitness students, industry professionals, business owners, coaches, and entrepreneurs. Do you want to grow your health and fitness side hustle, career, and/or business to 6 figures or even higher? Do you want to find time freedom and financial security? Anyone, regardless of where they are right now, can get stuck and not know which steps to take next. And that's why my special gift to you is the On Top Performance Academy's Fast Track Formula. It contains the exact steps I and many other high-performance coaches have used to make 6 figures and beyond, and it's exactly what you need to build your own successful health and fitness side hustle, career, and/or business. It's my gift to you, and you will also be able to access our featured guests, tips, guides, and coaching programs. Simply go to www.ontopper.com.au. That's www.ontop, P for performance, A for academy.com.au, or use the link in the show's description. Welcome back. I'm coachGrazy, your high performance coach, and I'm here with the amazing George Marialis. George, can I start by asking you, what inspired you to build the Marialis method? I mean, we talk about human first, but the Marialis method is move, think, evolve, and why that ensures that you stay out of the box of templates and pre-written programs.
My basic platform is movement. physical activity. Human bodies are designed to be physically active. Take that away, they're not humans anymore. They're just a big lump of flesh that's just waiting to die. That sounds pretty nasty, but unfortunately, that's what the science says. So don't listen to me. Go to the science and have a look at that. Now, exercise isn't necessarily going to the gym. It's moving physically in such a way that blood flows through all muscle tissue and there's a bit of resistance there. And if you look at in a more natural environment, there's a lot of physical activity. There's lifting and throwing and moving objects and walking, running, sprinting, uphill, downhill. There's a lot of movement.
Move.
It's all
Move.
about movement.
Okay, so where does think come from?
Think. Well, unfortunately, Western society in particular has taken the ability for humans to think about what they're doing in life away from them. They're told how to think. They're told what to think. They're told what supplements are best. They're told about miracle cures. They're told how not to do this exercise this way, do it this way. Come on. In this day and age, we have so many resources available to us. They just need to start thinking for themselves.
Do some research, do some critical thinking, speak to some peers, find a coach, find a mentor, discuss it, give your opinions. Think.
If you go to a personal trainer, he's going to ask you questions. You ask them questions.
Correct. Yeah.
Who have you trained? How many years have you trained?
I think that's a really good point. I'm just going to listen to the personal trainer and do what the personal trainer says. No, think about what they're telling you. Think about that, how that suits you as a human, and ask questions. Be critical if you want to be critical. You have permission to do that.
There's one word which will test any personal trainer. He'll tell you to do something and you have to turn around and say, why? Explain it to me.
Love it. Why? Can you explain why?
Why? Oh, this is a good exercise. That's what. Why is it a good exercise?
Love it.
Well, because it exercises, it targets these areas of your body. And why? Why does it have to target those areas of my back? Explain.
Just keep asking why till you're satisfied. And that's thinking. I love it. And then evolve. Where's evolve?
Evolve. If you exercise properly, doesn't matter what it is, just move. I love the natural movement thing that's been going on for a few years now, because for people who don't like the gyms, that is absolutely fantastic. And there's a few people who I know who are doing so well in that. Don't need equipment.
Body weight, just use your body, use natural resistance.
Fantastic. So exercise is my platform, obviously, good nutrition, all of these things require a bit of thought. The transformation is where the evolve comes in.
That's the evolution. And it happens. You see it in your clients.
It happens.
Get moving, start thinking about it, and from that you will evolve into a better human. So,
think about the process of evolution itself. There's no thought in that process. It just happens. Why does it happen? Because there's other things that precede it. It's moving. It's thinking, and evolution just happens naturally.
Okay, buddy, it's time for the Focus Fitpreneur questions. I ask these questions to everyone, mate, and I'm sure you're going to absolutely inspire our audience with your answers. Number one, what are the 3 things that you have learnt through your journey that would help any aspiring fitpreneurs listening succeed in this beautiful industry of ours?
The first one is don't think you know everything. There's a lot of other coaches, trainers like me who would bend over backwards to share what I know. All you're going to do is ask. So turn around, look around, find someone who's approachable, someone who looks like they know what they're doing, and approach them and say, hey, I've got a couple of questions for you. Can you help me with this? That's number one.
That's the evolution piece, isn't it? We never stop learning, ever.
Never, ever. Even me, after all these years, I'm learning all the time. The second one, don't just do what you were taught or what you think you have to do. As a trainer, you're not there to just count reps or to do certain exercise. You need to know a little bit about everything. Know a bit about strength training, a little bit about a physique transformation, a little bit about bodybuilding, a little bit about conditioning, a little bit about weight loss. That's part of your job. You can't think that I'm a personal trainer, I've got this set of tools and I'm going to apply this set of tools to everything. That doesn't work.
There's a lot of that in the industry. It's like, go find a niche, stick in a niche. That's fine. But you need to have a holistic knowledge.
The final one is, for God's sake, get your hands dirty. Get out there and do the training yourself. Are you sure you know how to do a squat yourself before you instruct someone else? Do you know how to do a proper step up to a box? How high does it have to be? Who do you give it to?
If you don't know, ask. And we spoke about this right at the beginning.
Of course.
Except the fact that you've got to do year 1 in your apprenticeship before you can be a fully qualified tradie.
Yeah.
Excellent. Number 2, what is a resource, tool, or a book that you would recommend and why?
There's a book I bought way back in the early 2000. I think it might have been 2005 or 6. and it was Mark Rippertoe's Starting Strength. Mark Rippertoe, for those who don't know him, he is one of the best coaches on the planet, but he's more of a educator as well. His business today is working with a lot of the young college students, and potentially those college students are worth a lot of money, millions and millions and millions of dollars, and he is a specialist coach in that field. His instruction and his YouTube videos are second to none.
Okay, what might be a challenge or obstacle that you might need to overcome to reach your next goal?
Well, my next goal is to just get this Marialis method up and running.
You want to spread this. You want to take what you know and give this to other trainers to help them learn what you've learned. Listeners, all you've got to do is download that course guide and you can get an introduction to George and some of this amazing stuff. Okay, so when it's all said and done, mate, at the end of the day, what legacy do you want to leave in the world?
Legacies don't really mean much to me, because once you're gone, you're gone. It's what you do while you're here that counts to me. It's just knowing that I've helped people change their lives for the better.
We've got to wrap it up. I could talk to you all day. Thank you so much for being on the show, George. You really are an inspiration. I hope that we can get you back on again soon. But again, mate, a massive thank you from myself and the listeners out there. Thanks, mate.
My pleasure.
Make sure you visit www.ontopper.com.au to download your fast track formula and access featured guests, tips, guides, and coaching programs. That's www.ontop, P for performance, A for academy.com.au.